Hello, today we are going to discuss viruses. Okay, what is a virus? It is an infective agent that typically consists of a nucleic acid molecule and a protein coat. It is too small to be seen by light microscopy and is able to multiply only within the living cells of a host. So, viruses are not alive because they cannot replicate without a host, primarily. They are also not considered alive because they are unable to move on their own, they are unable to synthesize proteins, and they have no organelles to absorb nutrients or utilize energy. Again, that stuff is possible by the host, so again, why viruses need a host in order to be in sort of this alive state. Okay, while viruses are not technically alive, they have mutated and evolved along with life since the beginning of life's existence on Earth. Every virus that has ever existed or will ever exist will be able to seamlessly fit in a predestined part of cellular DNA, predestined to fill in a certain portion of DNA because of common ancestry. So there's kind of three different hypotheses as to the origin of viruses. First is the virus early hypothesis that when there was this primordial soup of molecules, there were basically a bunch of different possibilities of nucleic acids and molecularly what could be considered genetic information. And one of those, basically just common ancestry, split off to become structures of nucleic acids that would become a part of viruses. Others could be just parts of regular cells. With the regression hypothesis, it's that there were cells, and then basically part of the DNA from those cells left, and then inserted itself into another cell. So that says reductive evolution, loss of translation, and obligate parasitism. So it's more like a parasitic relationship that turned into viruses eventually over time. And then escaped genes hypothesis, so it was basically kind of just like there was an excessive amount of DNA replication or an error of some kind where there was more genetic information produced than what was needed, and then that eventually escaped the cell and over time became a virus. Alright, so more information about viruses. So viruses can be single-stranded or double-stranded. Viruses contain either strands of DNA or RNA, but they never have both. Viruses are incredibly small, 5 to 300 nanometers. Viruses disrupt specific sequences of genes of DNA, which causes protein synthesis alterations, which then causes an express change in the organism. Usually viruses that change would be like a runny nose, cough, sneezing, things like that. It's your body trying to fight those things and dealing with the changes that it's happening in its body. Okay, viruses can take on many different forms. So going from left to right, there are helical viruses, polyhedral viruses, spherical viruses, and complex viruses. I'll let you pause the screen and read in detail each of those. But those are the four main shapes that viruses take. Alright, so virus replication. This is known as the Lytic cycle and the Lysogenic cycle. So the host cell is used to make many copies of the viral RNA or DNA. Basically, this virus inserts itself into the bacterial cell, which you can see in the image on the right. When that happens, the viral genes instruct the host cells to synthesize more viral enzymes and protein capsids, and then eventually the viruses will leave the cell by exocytosis or causing the cell to burst. The lysogenic cycle is kind of a cycle that happens as one step of the lytic cycle. So looking at that image, it's basically the lysogenic cycle, again, is what's happening on this in-between step to the replication portion of the lytic cycle. So with the lysogenic cycle, viral DNA integrates into a chromosome in a host cell. viral genes, they can potentially remain dormant for some time, and then activated viral genes result in the lytic cycle. So dormancy could be a very short period of time or a very long period of time, but the lysogenic cycle is essentially replicating the bacterial chromosome, that's making the virus spread more, and then carrying on with the rest of the lytic cycle, which is the bacterial cell makes even more viral DNA and proteins, viral DNA assembles, and then those burst and spread to even more cells.
Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe, and remember to spread kindness.